Welcome to Flashcards Fridays. And if you had a chance to listen to Tuesday's episode, I interview the theoretical physicist, Dr. Ronald Mallett, who shares how a moment of heartbreak in his childhood became the foundation for his entire scientific career. It's an inspiring interview, and I hope that you get a chance to listen to it this week. Today, I'm following up on his concluding statement, and I think you're really going to enjoy this one because it applies to you. But first, a word from my affiliates. So here's a fun fact. I can hear a flea fart, especially when I'm sleeping. I'm a really light sleeper. So I found these really awesome sleep phones, and they are called acoustic sheep sleep phones, and they've been an absolute lifesaver. They are soft wireless headphones made for sleep, and they are perfect if you like to fall asleep to music, rain sounds, or even a podcast like Math, Science, History. There's no earbuds poking your ears. There's no cords. I'd show you, but I've got a cat in my hands, and they're so comfortable. They're perfect for sleep. Visit me at mathsciencehistory.com/sleep. That's mathsciencehistory.com/sleep. These sleep phones will definitely give you sweet dreams. So, on behalf of me and Miss Princess Penelope, good night, my nerds. Einstein once said that imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge, he explained, is limited to all we already know and understand. But imagination, it encircles the world. It sounds poetic, almost like something you would see printed on a poster in a classroom. And you probably did see it on a poster in a classroom. But when you look at the lives of scientists who have changed the world, you realize that Einstein meant it literally. Every breakthrough, every revolutionary equation, every leap into the unknown begins not with knowing the formula, but with having a dream. In my recent interview with theoretical physicist Dr. Ronald Mallett, his story reminds us that imagination doesn't just make science possible, it keeps science human. It turns grief into questions, questions into theories, and theories into discoveries. So today, we're taking a closer look at how imagination powers scientific progress, from ancient astronomers to modern physicists who dare ask the unthinkable. When Dr. Mallett was just 10 years old, his father died suddenly of a heart attack. His father was a television repairman who had served as a medic in World War II, and a man whose curiosity and patience made the world seem magical. He was only 33, and losing him shattered young Ronald's world. Then, about a year later, young Ronald came across a comic book style version of The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. On the inside of the book, it read, quote, "Scientific people know very well that time is just a kind of space." Those words changed his life. To him, they weren't fiction, they were hope. If time was a kind of space, maybe it could be traveled. Maybe he could go back and warn his father. Maybe he could change his fate. At 11 years old, he didn't have a lab or an understanding of physics, but what he did have was imagination. He began tinkering with his dad's old spare television parts, building his own time machine. Fortunately for the apartment wiring, nothing happened. Dr. Mallett, in my interview, states that he was disappointed but not discouraged, and that moment set him on a lifelong journey. Years later, after serving in the Air Force and earning his degrees in physics, Dr. Mallett joined the faculty at the University of Connecticut. And even as he studied black holes and general relativity, he kept his childhood goal tucked away like a secret. Only after he earned tenure did he finally feel free to say the words out loud. He was studying the possibility of time travel. What he proposed was bold. He theorized that light when circulated in a ring, could twist space and time into a loop. If gravity can bend time and light can create gravity, then light itself could, in theory, bend time. He had turned grief into geometry and longing into equations. Dr. Mallett's story is proof that imagination is not the opposite of science. It's the spark that lights it. Dr. Mallett stands among the giants in the science community because his creative courage connected him to an unbroken chain of dreamers throughout history. Scientists who saw possibility before proof. Case in point, Marie Curie imagined invisible rays long before instruments could detect them. Her faith in the unseen led her to discover radium and polonium, unlocking the study of radioactivity and transforming medicine forever. Johannes Kepler imagined that the universe followed divine mathematical harmony. His belief that geometry shaped the cosmos drove him to spend years calculating planetary orbits until he realized they weren't perfect circles, but ellipses. That revelation rewrote astronomy. And then there was Albert Einstein, the theorist of imagination itself. Long before he had proof, Einstein visualized himself chasing a beam of light through space. That mental picture created from pure imagination became the seed for the theory of relativity and the foundation of modern physics. Each of these scientists, like Dr. Mallett, used imagination as an experimental tool. They didn't wait for data to reveal truth. They envisioned it and then went looking for evidence. They remind us that creativity and reason are not rivals. They are partners in discovery. Dr. Mallett turned grief into theory. Marie Curie turned curiosity into chemistry. Kepler turned wonder into mathematics. Einstein turned thought into reality. And each of them reminds us the world doesn't change because of what we already know. It changes because someone dared to picture what could be true. Imagination isn't just dreaming. It's the prototype of every scientific instrument we've ever built. It's the laboratory of the mind, the rehearsal space for discovery. It's how we test ideas before we can touch them. Imagination and science are the two elements that turn abstract thought into our physical realities. We often talk about science as if it's purely logical, as if imagination is something that lives only in art or in literature. But scientific creativity is the same force. It just speaks in equations instead of color or rhyme. The difference is the language, not the process. Imagination fuels curiosity. Curiosity drives questions. Questions lead to experiments, and experiments, when guided by disciplined wonder, uncover the truth. That's what makes Dr. Mallett's journey so powerful. He didn't just chase science to understand the universe. He chased it to understand love, loss, and the human need to reconnect. His work reminds us that emotion isn't the enemy of reason. It's often the purpose we start reasoning at all. Every breakthrough starts with the sentence, what if? What if atoms aren't indivisible? What if disease spreads invisibly through the air? What if time can curve? And every what if is an act of imagination. It is. If knowledge is a map, imagination is the compass. Knowledge tells us where we are, but imagination points us to where we might go next. So, what are our final flashcard takeaways? Well, imagination turns emotion into discovery. Dr. Ronald Mallett's story shows how grief can evolve into a scientific quest that expands our understanding of time and space. 2, history's greatest scientists were also dreamers. Marie Curie, Johannes Kepler, and Albert Einstein each used imagination as a tool for uncovering truth, proving creativity is central to science. And 3, wonder is the first step toward knowledge. every theory begins with what if? And it's that question that drives science forward, turning ideas into reality. So as you go about your week, take a moment to notice your own flashes of imagination, the what if that crosses your mind and then could possibly drift away. But write it down, sketch it, explore it, because you never know which one might become the next great question. The future of science will always depend on precision, data, and careful reasoning, but it will also always depend on wonder, because wonder keeps us asking, and imagination gives us permission to begin. Thank you for watching Flashcards Fridays here at Math, Science, History. I'm Gabrielle Birchak, and until next time, carpe diem.